Cape, because what we're looking to create in the Western Cape is an ideological homeland for people who think like us, people who have broadly Western values.
Just imagine if the Western Cape broke away from the rest of South Africa. That's the dream of a growing movement pushing for what they call Cape independence. The idea sounds radical, even absurd to some, but let's break it down. Bill Craig is one of the loudest voices for secession. Says the Western Cape could be like Israel in Africa, a prosperous, independent state, giving Africans of different backgrounds a safe, thriving environment to grow and live in. But here's something interesting. Craig isn't South African. He's British, an immigrant who made South Africa his home.
Cape, because what we're looking to create in the Western Cape is an ideological homeland for people who think like us, people who have broadly Western values, who want to live in the first world, and you know, want to and I've often used the example, the Western Cape becomes almost like Israel for the Jews, if I can use that example.
Meanwhile, Jack Miller, the founder of the Cape Independence Party, is South African, born and raised in Cape Town. So what's the argument here? On the one hand, the Western Cape is South Africa's economic engine. Its GDP alone per capita is higher than the rest of the national average. Its unemployment rate is also lower, and Cape Town alone makes up to 70% of the province output. Supporters argue that if the Western Cape were independent, it could manage its own resources more efficiently, maybe perform better than the rest of the country.
Our country is deeply unjust. I think we can agree with that. We've got growth. We're the most unequal country in the world. We've got desperate poverty. We've got one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. So we've got real problems. So the question is not, how did we get here? Or whose fault was it 50 years ago? What did your great-grandfather do to my great-grandfather? The question is, how do we get that guy who's living in a shack into a decent house and into a job? And how do we fix these problems? And actually, moving forward, that's the issue.
But let's play the devil's advocate here. Breaking away wouldn't be easy. A new South Africa needs its own defense, foreign policy, and infrastructure too. And let's not forget, the South African Constitution doesn't allow secession. So independence would bring political instability or maybe even conflict.
No, the Cape is ours.
Yeah, it's our yard, and if you don't like it, leave. Well, who's he talking to? The people of the Western Cape. This is our home. We belong here.
And here's the bigger picture. Africa's entire GDP alone is about $3 trillion, less than some single countries. South Africa itself is about $400 billion. The Western Cape slice of this is just about $56 billion. So would independence really transform the province into a global powerhouse or just shrink its influence? The question is this: is Cape independence a visionary solution or just a dangerous fantasy of a few?